today I have a very fun story for you about our dear friend Miranda and how she got me fired from Disneyland. So, I don't know how many of you guys know this, but I used to work at Disneyland many years ago. I loved it. I have no hard feelings towards Disneyland. I love Disneyland so much. I want to go every day. I loved every single day that I worked there. It was incredible. Let me start from the beginning of the story. Now, some of you already know the story. I've mentioned it in live streams and stuff, but I want to tell you the full, detailed story of how I got fired from Disneyland. So it all started off right when I got out of college. I got into a musical called Seussical the Musical, and I played Gertrude McFuzz. And some of the casting directors from Disneyland happened to come to one of the shows, and they saw me and somehow got my phone number, called me and said, "We want you to come audition for High School Musical." This was a dream come true for me. I love Disneyland. I'm obsessed with anything Disney. I love High School Musical. I love performing. This is before any of the Miranda stuff, so I was just stoked that they even wanted me to audition. So I went to the audition and I actually bombed. I'm a really bad auditioner. I get super nervous, but the casting directors remembered me from the show Seussical, so they're like, you know what, no, actually, like, we remember really liking you in the show, so let's give her a second chance. And they called me back, which never happens, by the way. Like, that does not happen. If you bomb an audition, you're out. So they had me stay for the callback. I did the callback, and I did really well at the callback, and I got in. I got into High School Musical, The Parade. It was for High School Musical 3. So I was beyond excited to be part of High School Musical. Look at the ends, like the ends of my ponytails. Like, what? Then I auditioned for a show called Playhouse Disney live on stage, and I got that too. I got to play the role of Casey, and I got to dance around Mickey and Minnie and like all this stuff. It was super fun. This is Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. Come inside, it's fun inside. And I loved it, you guys. This was like the time of my life. Now comes the Miranda side of this story. So I started doing Miranda in 2007 is when I created the character. And I got the job at Disney in 2009. So the character already existed, but no one was watching it. Like, no one was watching Miranda. It was just like my friends. So while I was working at Disneyland, all of a sudden, my first video on YouTube went viral. It was called Free Voice Lesson, a Miranda video, and it wasn't like super viral. It got like 70,000 or 100,000 views in a day. But for me, that was like insane, and it still is. Like, that's a big number. So people started knowing who Miranda was, especially in like the musical theater community. People liked Miranda. It was a very small, excited cult following of the character, which was awesome. Every once in a while I was up on stage performing, people would come up and be like, "Hey, that's Miranda," and wave to me, and I would do Miranda for them on stage. An example would be like, one of the songs was called I Just Wanna Be With You. I just wanna be with you. And we had to like wave our arm in the air like this. And I would be like, I just wanna be with you. Like that. And so I would like start to just trinkle in Miranda every once in a while. There's even, I think someone caught a picture of me doing the Miranda face on stage. Like, I just started doing Miranda in the middle of the show for friends, not the whole show, just like little bits and pieces. Well, they have like plants basically at Disneyland. When you're watching a parade, there are people watching the parade with you who work at Disneyland who are taking notes, making sure the dance moves are all right, the singing is right, the costumes are right. Like, they want to make sure everything is perfect for you guys at Disneyland. So they have people watching the parade while you guys are watching the parade. So I guess my mind just wasn't computing that that was happening or something. So I kept singing like Miranda on stage, and people were taking note of it. And I got a call from Disneyland one day. I was actually in Florida with the Grandes at Disney World. I was either at Disney World or Universal when they called me. And like the head casting director, and she's like, "Hi, Colleen, so I just need to talk to you. We're doing a little bit of rescheduling and removing around some of the cast members. And we got some notes back about your performance, and we just feel like your vocals aren't up to par with everybody else in the cast, and you've become very pitchy, and we just want you to work on that. So maybe it'd be good for you to get into voice lessons or something like that. It was like the nicest way anyone could get fired. And technically they didn't even really fire me because they just demoted me. They took away my days. So I did have like set days that I'd always work at Disney. They took those days away and they just made me a sub, which meant like whenever they needed someone to come in, they'd call me and be like, hey, can you come in and work today? But I knew what was going on. I knew they were firing me, and I knew it was my fault for doing Miranda on stage, because like, why did I do that? Anyway, she didn't know that I was doing Miranda on stage, and I wasn't about to tell her because that would just get me in more trouble. I wasn't gonna be like, oh, I was actually doing a character that can't sing well, so that's not actually how I sing. I actually can sing. So it was very embarrassing because I just had to like be like, okay, yeah, I guess I'll get voice lessons. I didn't tell her that I was doing Miranda. But basically they demoted me to a sub, and then they never called me to come back to work at High School Musical again. I did go in a few more times to do Playhouse Disney, but luckily, shortly after that, Miranda really started to like pick up and become popular, and I started to create my own one-woman show and going on tour with that and stuff. So it all worked out, and I don't have any hard feelings. I know it was totally my fault, and I would have done the same thing in their position. I still love Disneyland, and I go all the time. So this is zero shade on Disney. They were doing their job correctly, and I was being a little punk. So yeah, but that is how I got fired from Disneyland, and that's the full story. I know that I've told you guys bits and pieces of that story in the past, but that is like the full-fledged story. And I was really sad. I loved that job and I miss it a lot. And every time I go to Disney now, I have like a little warm place in my heart for Disneyland, and I'll always remember fondly on all the memories I had there. So anyway, that's my story of how Miranda got me fired from Disneyland. I love you guys, and I will see you next time. So have a good day. Bye.